Unpublishing Police to Police, the largest police accountability page on the platform. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
It's the video sensation that's taking the internet by storm. A web series on YouTube passed the 100 views mark this week. Titled Andrew and John, the wildly popular webisodes feature roommates Andrew Vanier and John Haney playing fictionalized versions of themselves in unusual situations, mostly set in and around their Chicago apartment.
Dude, did you get my tart? What's a tart? Oh, you just texted me a fart.
Their latest short, titled Laundry Day, reached the unprecedented 100-view milestone this week after a heavy promotional push in which the duo posted the skits to their Facebook pages. The hit video features the roommates wearing unconventional outfits while scrounging up enough change to do laundry in their basement. Other popular episodes include Foreign Landlord, featuring John's friend Brett from work, and a video where Andrew suspects John might be a zombie.
Our videos consistently get over 50 views now, but Laundry Day, that's the first one that's really taken off.
Yeah, everyone I know has seen it.
It's completely viral.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about, well, whatever you want to talk about. It's Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, pretty much every day of the year, we're here taking your calls about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And, Jay, I don't know if you're paying much attention to the presidential race out there, but I've been keeping an eye on this gal named Tulsi Gabbard. Have you?
Well, a little bit, because in my listening, from what I understand, she's the only one who's actually on a Democrat side that is actually anti-war or against war, it sounds like.
I think it's probably more accurate to say she's against these wars. Like she's not a principled pacifist or anything like that. She's a vet, and as a vet, I think she has a view on conflict that is born out of the fact that she might have had to go over there and die for it.
So when you say these wars, you're talking about the wars that have been going on while the generations that are pretty much alive are alive, like the last 20 years probably.
Yeah, those the most recent ones especially. I don't know what she feels like on Vietnam or whatever, but currently there are people in the military right now that have not lived in a world without conflict.
Right, yeah, because it's been 18, 19 years we've been on Afghanistan occupation, or
basically
conflict.
More or less, if you consider somebody who was born, 2001, because obviously they weren't paying much attention prior to that, but they were born in 2001. Their whole world has been the United States. Everybody's out to get us.
And anybody who served in Afghanistan, unless they're really, really ignorant, has got to understand that the whole purpose of the Afghan, occupation is literally to keep a steady supply of opiates going. The heroin trade. I mean, Silver Dave's one of my best friends. He's been talking about this, for 10 years.
A former Green Beret.
And every time I mention to somebody that's done time, as I refer to it, in Afghanistan in the military, I just talked to a guy at an auction a couple of weeks ago. He works for the auction company, and he says he was a Marine. So where'd you serve? He goes, I was in, Afghanistan. And I says, so would you say that the heroin supply in the United States is being subsidized by the U.S. military? He goes, absolutely. He goes, that is a perfect description. He says, literally, we were told not to interfere with basically the opium production is what he had to say.
Yep. And it's one way to look at it. What I've got to argue here is, first off, I guess what I would say is about Tulsi Gabbard is that for some reason, I don't know what that reason is. I wouldn't claim to know, but basically every mainstream news article I see about Tulsi Gabbard is a hit piece on this lady. Now, I don't particularly
all the mainstream supports war.
Right. I don't particularly like Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm certainly not calling her a libertarian. If I had a Democratic primary vote, and I will not, I'm going to remain a Republican voter for that particular primary season, which means that I don't get to vote in that primary because, the Republicans have already picked their guy. I guess Bill Weld is claiming he's going to run, but regardless, it doesn't really make a difference whether
I thought he was a libertarian last time around, old Bill Weld there.
Something happened.
He was at Pork Fest, and I really wanted to heckle him, but I just wasn't prepared. He was speaking, but I was busy setting up for the free Ross auction and getting things going, and he was on stage speaking, and if I actually knew he was going to be there, like maybe if I actually looked at the schedule, I definitely would have heckled him a bit.
Well, either way, whatever happens with Bill Weld, for some reason the mainstream media is after Tulsi Gabbard, and I don't understand why. And everything that they say is about her position on conflict, and that says to me that for some reason the mainstream media is anti-pacifist, and I don't mean a pacifist in the sense where you're talking about somebody who's like, well, I just wouldn't do anything if you decided to beat my wife up in front of me. That's not a pacifist, all right? That is a anti-life position of insane people. That's not what a word, in order to have a meaning, must have a real. It must be concrete. It must be understandable. And whereas this idea of pacifism to the point that you simply will not meet aggression with anything. That's not it's fiction. It doesn't even make sense. No one will do that.
Right.
Even a person that claimed that they would do that wouldn't do that.
I said something about being a libertarian to somebody in passing the other day, and a lady says, "Yeah, I just can't get on board with you isolationists."
Right.
This was actually in a market in Manchester, New Hampshire, a little health food store.
Sure. So isolationism to these people means not dropping bombs on other people's kids.
Right.
Because look, if which nation is isolationist? What makes it isolationist? And if that's the case, if whatever you claim makes a nation isolationist, either almost all nations in the world are isolationist, in which case the United States needs to stop what it's doing. If isolationism has to do with prosecuting wars around the world, being the world's cop, effectively.
The only isolationism I see amongst nations is literally a side effect of sanctions by the United States and its friends. This really, of what I can tell, I haven't been to really any other countries, but just what I see, what's going on, and I'm hearing in the media and stuff, it's just a side effect of sanctions.
Yeah, there's not very many isolationist countries out there that want to be isolationist.
Right.
So isolationist means not doing economic business with other countries, and no libertarian is advocating for that. There are isolationists in America. Pat Buchanan would probably wear the title proudly. I agree with him on a lot of issues. One of those issues isn't foreign trade. I don't agree with tariffs. I don't agree with the ideas. Tariffs are taxes that Americans pay. And we live in a global society, and in a global society, you need to do business on a global scale. Nobody who's listening to me can buy an American-made toaster. They just don't have them anymore.
Yeah, not unless you found one at a flea market or something, or a swap shop.
Right. I don't even. It's your money is then going to an American for the toaster, but I don't even know if that toaster that you found at a swap shop is American made. You'd have to go back to a pretty old toaster at that point.
And getting back to Tulsi and the mainstream media, at the very least, war sells headlines if that's what mainstream media wants to do. But I think mainstream media is more influenced, first off, by the shareholders that own these large corporations like, Fox or MSNBC or Clear Channel or whoever the handful of conglomerates are that literally distribute almost all the media. And then, of course, you have, if you look at, if you watch, I was at someone's place 3-4 weeks ago, and they're kind of normies, and they're watching, I don't know, some sports ball game or something. And they had like a Fox break-in or whatever, and it was like 2 or 3 commercials the whole time I was there that caught my attention where this join the Army National Guard, Marines, family of whatever, the war machine propaganda. And this mainstream media has been basically sucking off the nipple of the war machine probably since the war machine and media existed together, best I can tell.
And so part of this is the veterans, right? Like what a lot of people who are pro-war get their parlance from supporting the troops, right?
Yeah.
And every time we get on the air and we say that veterans are basically people who have been tricked tricked into supporting, basically being, people that are accepting paychecks in order to go and do the bidding of liars and thieves in Washington, D.C. You say that, and then the phones light up. Everybody's mad. The veterans, right? I have an article here that perhaps will give you some level of vindication for me if you feel that way about my position. So it's from thenewrepublic.com, and it says here, from the New Republic, most veterans say America's wars are a waste. No one is listening to them. If you support the wars and you support the veterans, you are at odds with yourself. You have a dichotomous position. The veterans are of the opinion that we should stop sending young people to die in pointless wars.
That's why so many veterans supported Ron Paul. I think veterans were the largest support group of Ron Paul, largest donators.
But chicken hawks hated Ron Paul.
Oh, absolutely.
People who wanted other people to fight their wars hated them. Those are the people that don't support the vets. 855-450-3733. 855-450-3733. I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McElvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in. Talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
What we're talking about is this article from the New Republic that says that most veterans say America's wars are a waste and that nobody is listening to the veterans that they claim to support.
Well, there are people listening, but those voices don't have multi-million-dollar, purses to and equipment. They're not big mainstream media. They're not. Clear Channel's not listening. Fox isn't listening.
I don't know what these major news organizations would have to benefit. What I would say is this: is that when I bring up the topic of foreign wars on the air and sort of the reality of the exploitation of young people to fight these foreign wars, because there are no wars without troops. Okay, forget it, ladies and gentlemen. It simply doesn't happen. The liars and thieves in Washington, D.C. will not fight their own wars. Generals do not, fire rifles. That's just not done. I mean, they may do it in practice or something, but they're not fighting wars. Wars are fought by troops.
Poor people.
Yeah, the enlisted people. Yeah, you'll find a lieutenant, a captain, those sorts of things. They'll be out there in the battle, but basically, wars are fought by enlisted men. And if you don't have, this gristmill where we create mind-numbed, fooled people to go into the military, then you don't have these pointless wars that have been going on for 20 years. Now, you can come after me for saying the wars are pointless, but then you're coming after the vets too. And I'm going to read this. Finish reading this article here real quick. But I want to tell you about My Magic Mud before we do. One thing, it's probably hard to get My Magic Mud if you're overseas and as an enlisted person. It's a black tooth powder made of charcoalized coconut shells and bentonite clay that's clinically proven to whiten teeth. I use it regularly, and as a matter of fact, I use it about every 4 to 7 days. That's what's prescribed, or the suggested, as it were. And I believe that it gets my teeth cleaner than regular toothpaste. It feels like we've just finished having a tooth cleaning, more or less. And you can get this at most major health food stores: Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, Amazon. This is a mainstream product, and you can get it just about anywhere. But if you go to mymagicmud.com and you use coupon code FTL20, then you can get it at 20% off. And it's not that much. It's basically a 6-month supply in one of their little tubs. And the 20% off, I think it's somewhere around $10. And that's a great deal. It's mymagicmud.com, coupon code FTL20. mymagicmud.com, coupon code FTL20. So going on here, there's a widening gap between Washington's bipartisan militarism and veterans' bipartisan war skepticism. In spite of his confused account of U.S. history, his partisan snipes, his dictatorial posturing, Donald Trump's parading and speechifying in Washington on July 4th attempted to glom onto one of the last consensus issues in a broken American culture. We love to support our troops. We celebrate our history, our people, and our heroes who proudly defend our flag, the brave men and women of the United States military. Trump told a crowd of mostly VIPs in the Lincoln Memorial.
I disagree with that. I mean, they're not defending the flag. What they're doing is they're securing heroin interests. They're helping to destabilize nations that don't want to use U.S. dollars. If anything, they're working for the bankers and big pharma, kind of all at the same time.
Let's not forget that when what was that quarterback's name? I've forgotten his name. The black guy that got in trouble for not
Kaepernick.
Yeah, Kaepernick. So when Colin Kaepernick decided to kneel during the anthem in order to protest perceived police violence against blacks in America,
right?
No one said, "Why don't you support our police officers?" They all said, "You're insulting the troops."
Yeah,
so the suggestion is that the troops and the flag are inexorably linked. And I think that there's something historically to that notion.
It's a media spin with the whole Kaepernick thing because he wasn't, bashing the troops or nothing. His problem
said nothing about him.
Was with the cops.
The reason he was kneeling was because a guy in the military suggested that would be a better way to protest. He had previously just been sitting on the bench, and no one was really paying much attention to him. But when he knelt, it was more obvious that he did so.
Yep.
There he is in line with everybody else, kneeling. And that caused more problems. But anyway, I will say that people tend to link the flag. And as a matter of fact, here at the Republican meetings in Keene, New Hampshire, some people will stand for the flag and some people won't when they do the pledge. And, that gets the people who want to do the pledge even more entrenched that we got to do the pledge. Why? Because we're veterans or we support the troops or whatever the reason is.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's almost always, when you talk about these displays towards the flags, it's almost always about the troops. And so that's what the claim here is from the article that Donald Trump was trying to glom onto. And I would agree.
Hey, when I used to be in the Massachusetts Truck Pullers, which is a still functioning club, they have set up truck pulls all over Western Mass. It's a lot of Western Mass rednecks and flag wavers, and they're all a lot of them are pro-military. Even the company out of the Berkshires that builds a Bearcat actually was one of the sponsors.
Yeah.
Until I became a board member, and I absolutely said we did not want their sponsorship. I forget what they're called, but I wish I could say their name. But anyway,
the Lenco Bearcat.
Lenco, exactly. Yeah, they were out of Pittsfield, I think, or Lenox, Mass. But they, so they were one of the sponsors. I was like, no, we don't need their $200 that they want to give us to, come show off their, machine that's going to be used against Americans. Their Bearcat. And I would never stand for the flag. And I was a sled operator, and everybody could see me and people would come up to me and be like, "What? You don't support our troops?"
Right. As though not standing for the flag has anything to do with the troops. But
what are you talking about? I don't support empirism. I don't support the fact that, I don't war. First off, I'm not a member of this religion called the United States. I'm just not.
And a lot of people don't consider. They don't even consider it a religion. They consider it the water in which we swim. Right? Like the patriotism in America is our atmosphere.
If you don't like it, go to Somalia.
Right? Why not go to Somalia?
Yeah.
Like if you don't like everything that I think about, red, white, and blue, and a certain song and a certain little prayer to a graven image. If you don't think of those things the same way I do, then, well, by God, go to Somalia. Go to the worst place on the planet because you disagree with me.
And 20 years ago, I was carrying the American flag on a horse in parades often.
I have had at one point a 76 Eldorado convertible, 1976, the bicentennial of the United States, and it was bedecked. It was red, and it was bedecked in red, white, and blue. After 9/11, I had two flags flying off my car supporting the United States. And it's not that, I particularly have a problem with red, white, and blue or flags or any of these things. It's that the symbolism itself gives power to the politicians. That's the conclusion I've come to. And that's what I'm trying to portray by reading this article is that, you cannot support the flag, to my mind. You cannot support the pledge. You cannot support the anthem. You can't support these things without giving power to the politicians themselves because they drape themselves in it. They'll kill your kids over it.
Because of their lust for power is why your kids are dying overseas.
If it was their lust, I don't want to worship their lust for power. 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE.
Do you ever feel like you're in jail? Not in a real jail, but a virtual jail because of your job, your stressful business, or maybe your current relationship where you're not allowed to do what you really want to do. There's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
You're not a wild animal, and you shouldn't be tagged and tracked like one. Where you go and what you do every minute of the day, tracked and recorded by your mobile phone, is often more revealing than your browser history. And tech companies make a fortune selling your location history without your consent. Go Dark Bags prevent location tracking and protect your privacy by instantly blocking all cell phone, GPS, and Wi-Fi signals to your mobile device. Plus, they're durable, water-resistant, and built for a lifetime of protection. Visit godarkbags.com/FTL. That's godarkbags.com/FTL.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
He bought a radiation monitor on eBay for like $10.
You got to be kidding me.
A Geiger counter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, let's put some batteries in it and get it fired up. So we fired it up. We started walking
You guys
around.
know how to spend an evening.
Yeah,
Get
right.
a couple of beers and hang out with a Geiger counter.
We were making readings of 10 Roentgens outside the house.
What's that mean? Is that bad?
Yeah, it is.
Is that dangerous?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Right.
Now, where's the life-threatening one?
100 Roentgens. I'm really concerned now because I've seen...
But you weren't concerned before you got the radiation meter out.
Right.
Now you're definitely going to get cancer, Harry. What's the detector going to do for you, though? Really? I mean, if you're going to die, you're going to die, right?
The guy that just called in about radiation, first of all, you got a Geiger counter off the internet.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. And if you have your own business, whether it's online or bricks and mortar, or you go to people's houses, whatever it is that you might do, check out helpmetakebitcoin.com. Because if you do, you'll find a way to reach new customers. And that's what everybody wants. if you accept cryptocurrency at your business, at least in my experience, new people who otherwise would not have frequented your business will start hunting you down and finding you. Now, I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, but I live here in, cute little Keene, New Hampshire. And I've gone to businesses that I would not go to otherwise because they accept cryptocurrency. And that's a nice thing to have when it comes to your business. So helpmetakebitcoin.com will walk you through. It's like a 5-minute process, tops. There's no sign up. Sign up is easy. There's no ID, no verification, no paperwork, none of that stuff that goes in with, say, taking credit cards. It's easy. It's point of sale, and they make it possible for you to accept Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Zcash, and so many more. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com. You can use it Android, iOS, whatever you need to do. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
There's a mom and pop gas station here in New Hampshire, right down the road from my house, and I convinced them to kind of start taking Bitcoin for their products. And what it is the two kids, they're like in their 30s. They're part owners at a gas station, and if they're there, they'll take Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Dash for gas or for pizza or whatever. And actually what had happened a couple of mornings ago, I went in there, and the one guy, Trevor's his name, had just shown up, and I heard his mom say to him, "So some man was in here wanted to buy gas with Bitcoin, and I told him I didn't know how that worked, and he'd have to come in when my son's here," and he left.
So he didn't buy.
He didn't buy.
Right.
And she was like, darn, could have sold some gas and coffee or whatever,
right.
And it was. But
she was feeling a little fussy because now she's lost a sale that she actually knew she lost.
Right.
As opposed to being in a business where, you're losing sales. If you have a business right now and you're not accepting cryptocurrency, you're losing sales. You don't know how many because somebody's not coming in and calling you up and saying, "Oh, you take crypto?" Well, no. Okay, bye. Click. You're not seeing that. So.
And so he's like, "Yeah, my mom wants to know about it now. She's asking questions, so it's progressing, which is awesome."
But that's the idea. So going back to this article from the New Republic, and I want to, one of the reasons I want to read this article that most veterans say America's wars are a waste and no one's listening to them is because these are the kind of things we've been saying on Free Talk Live for a long time. And we get called all kinds of names for it. But if you're a veteran, mind you, it doesn't make a difference that somewhere like 33% of our hosts are veterans. Doesn't make a difference that that's the case. It's that, we're America haters, right? And by the way, what I've seen is that if you're a veteran, then the next question is, are you a combat veteran? Like it just keeps on ramping up. Now, not many people can say much to Silver Dave, who's a Green Beret, right?
Right, yeah.
They can't say much to him.
Or Adam Kokesh.
Well, but Kokesh he's not a host of the show, but he's certainly been on here.
Okay, yeah, he's been on. All right.
So the Long War that began on September the 11th, 2001, added to veterans' already outsized role in American narrative. Worship of military service has become an indispensable cog in every politician and corporation's endearment strategy. And this is one of the things I think about the flag is this is a cheap way of virtue signaling. You got a flag hanging outside, and 90% of people agree that's a good idea to have a flag. Why not? Now, to me, it's like it's just like, oh, in case I forget which country I'm in. Thank God they've got these flags all over the place.
My favorite is when I see the Gadsden flag right above the American flag, or when it's like a sticker on a car,
cop flag,
and it's the American flag with the thin blue line. So it's like, don't tread on me, but I support those who are gonna, tread mostly on Americans, and that would be the police in that particular.
So on the actual subject of war, almost no one in mainstream politics is actually listening to the troops. That's the main takeaway from the Pew Research Center's latest rolling poll of U.S. veterans. Pew Research Center, not exactly a marginal research organization.
What do they do anyways? I mean, I've heard it before. I'm not even sure what it is. Is it just some government-financed think tank?
No, Pew is an organization that sells research to businesses and stuff like that, some of them being news, in which solid majorities, of former troops said that the wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria were not worth fighting. The gaps between approval and disapproval were not even close to the poll's 3.9% margin of error. Barely a third of veterans considered any of these conflicts worthwhile. Ladies and gentlemen, barely a third of veterans, the people that you hope to support in supporting these conflicts for so often, that we have so often and for so long, want them.
During the 07, I met a lot of veterans. A lot of them were still on, active. That through the Ron Paul campaigns, I was very active with a lot of Ron Paulers in Western Mass, and I went to meetings, couple meetings a week sometimes on these Ron Paul campaigns, and I would probably say nearly half of those folks were actually current military or former military, and a lot of the current guys were like, yeah, basically what's going on in these Afghanistan and Iraq is nonsense. Their enemy is not there. We're just harassing people or we're wasting money is what these guys would tell me.
So here's a quote from the Pew's article. So there's the New Republic's article. This is a quote within the article. Among veterans, 64% say the war in Iraq was not worth fighting considering the costs versus the benefits to the United States, while 33% say that it is. The general public's view are nearly identical. 62% of Americans overall say the Iraq war wasn't worth it, and 32% say it was. Similarly, majorities of both veterans, 58%, and the public, 59%, say the war in Afghanistan was not worth fighting. About 4 in 10 or fewer say it was worth fighting, and veterans who served in either Iraq or Afghanistan are no more supportive of these engagements than those who did not serve in these wars, and views did not differ based on rank or combat experience. So if this doesn't lay it all out, I don't know what does. Now, I will admit, when the Iraq war, the Afghanistan war sort of started, the idea was to go in and hunt down Osama bin Laden. I don't know if I was really on board, but I kind of saw the point. I believe I was tricked in that one. I think Bush could have negotiated with the Taliban. Like, there wasn't much negotiation that went on. It was basically like, you give us what we want. And the Taliban's like, you got any proof he did whatever he did? And the United States is like, we don't need proof. We're the United States. Get out of it. You either give us what we want or we're going to blow you up. And I'm like, we don't have what you want. He's out over there.
I just believe that whatever mainstream media is saying pretty much my entire life is an absolute lie. I don't even believe they found Osama bin Laden. I don't believe they dumped his body in the ocean. This whole SEAL
They
team
sure made it
sure they staged
difficult to believe. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I don't know whether it happened or not. They made it difficult to believe. Now here's every opportunity to display this body for people to see or whatever. I mean, here's this big prize, but instead you dump it off in the water, and then all the talking heads say, oh yes, we support this.
Dump it in the water, like somebody could just go get it if you dumped it in the water.
Well, I'm sure they dumped it deep enough.
Or made it sink. But
I bet the Navy's pretty good at burials at sea at this point.
And they probably have battleships around it so nobody could come over there. I believe it was all nonsense. And when it comes to media, it's kind of like reading statutes. You got to really pay attention to what's not being said rather than what's being said, because they all have an agenda and they're all just spoon-fed what to say by someone, I don't know who.
Now, there is a variation in certain types of vets, and I'm going to tell you about that here in a moment. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's how you call in here on Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 800-590-4930. 800-590-4930. 800-590-4930. That's 800-590-4930.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever you want to talk about. We're talking about this article from the New Republic that's addressing what veterans actually think about the conflicts that they've been through, the recent past sort of conflicts, because, well, you know, I think the veterans' opinions on things like Vietnam are pretty much settled. You know,
the thing is that like a lot of the declassified stuff that came out about Vietnam and Korean War, like the Gulf of Tonkin, and we didn't have the information superhighway back in the 70s that we have today. So now we're finding out pretty much real time what's really going on, because, you know, guys can literally email people from overseas or maybe shoot photos back or something. And you got just reporters on the ground everywhere, you know, even the folks whose, you know, towns and villages are being occupied. I mean, you know, like the Bradley Manning stuff, that never would have, those videos never would have gotten distributed from during Korean War or Vietnam War.
The playbook appears to be, well, yeah, that war was bad, but this one is righteous. Over and over again, that seems to be the position that is taken. I think that Americans are becoming tired of that position. Now, I don't know if they'll remain tired of it. Hopefully, communication continues to get better.
And the fact that the wars are so condensed, because literally, you know, since what what was 1980 something was when Desert Storm started, like 87-ish.
Nah, I think it was before that, but all right.
Was it before? Maybe 85?
There was the first Gulf War.
That was Desert Storm, right?
Persian Gulf conflict and
something.
some stuff.
So, and then it's been, and that's really never stopped. I mean, ever since, as far as I can tell, I was a little kid. I remember I was in second or first grade or third grade or something when they were talking about price of fuel getting expensive, heat and oil. There was people who were having a hard time buying heat and oil for their houses, I remember. And I can remember my dad, who was always trucking, was really whining about, fuel
the cost of fuel,
40-50%. And the perpetual war, the first I learned about war, and just in my lifetime, and I just turned 40, has been ongoing. It's been one conflict right after another that I can remember my entire life of just that I can remember.
So here we have the only meaningful variations that pollsters found among vets. So vets all agree, like it's basically 2/3 of vets, whether whatever, basically say Afghanistan,
yeah,
Iraq.
vets that they polled, because they never polled them all, but yeah,
certainly the polled vets find that Afghanistan, Iraq, all these places, that there was no point. There was a waste of time going into these wars. 2/3, more or less. Now, there was a difference, though, based on party identification. Republican identifying veterans were likelier to approve of the wars, but even a majority of those GOP vets now say that the wars were not worth waging. So
you can't unsee what you see when you're in active duty and you see all the waste and everything going on. I mean, even guys who stay stateside, just based on the resources and what's going on and what they're hearing from the other guys, start to get a negative opinion of it.
Right. There's simply no mainstream bloc among politicians of any party that seems interested in heeding the majority opinion. On a rare bout of consistency between 2011 and 2017, private citizen Trump beat a loud drum for withdrawal from Afghanistan after President Barack Obama, who had campaigned on ending the Iraq War, approved an Afghanistan troop surge. So, maybe Trump's decision was based on Obama, whom he did not seem to be a very fan of. Anyway, and laid the groundwork for the U.S. involvement in Syria against ISIS. But unlike Obama, Trump, as president, has ended up deepening the U.S. commitments in Afghanistan as well as adding troops in Syria. Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, an Iraq veteran, earned plaudits from doves, I guess that's what I am, and isolationists. There certainly are isolationists, and they probably would applaud her, for pushing an anti-war line in the last month's Democratic presidential debates, and ended up as the debate's most searched candidate on Google. So mainstream media finds out that Tulsi Gabbard is the most searched person on Google, and what do? They put out hit pieces on her.
Right, because they can't ignore her anymore like they did with Ron Paul.
So I don't think that the mainstream media has a horse in the race, Jay, but I will say this. The people that own the mainstream media, and I don't mean just to own it, but, the advertisers and the ones that really make the difference.
The handlers of mainstream media.
So one thing, just to make this point a little finer, is that basically if you want your movie to have, tanks or something in it, you have to do what the United States military wants in the movie. Top Gun, I mean, wonder how many people signed up to be a Navy pilot because of Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
That one worked.
When I was a young kid, I remember that movie came out. I was like in elementary school or something, and like a lot of my buddies wanted to be a Top Gun pilot.
Sure. And there's a new one coming out, by the way. Top Gun Maverick is coming out, I think, next year. So that should be interesting. I like Tom Cruise. Think he's a great actor. I like to see jets in movies as much as anybody. I'm interested in this. What we've also found out, Free Talk Live has found out, and read the articles here on the air, is that movies that don't even have tanks and airplanes and stuff in it, for some reason, they're going to get approval from the United States military for things.
Well, they also get funding. There are some movies that I have seen at the credits. It'll say like, funding Department of Georgia something, funding U.S. Department of Defense, to have some little military emblem or something on it.
And, for some, and then consider this. If you're a big executive at a movie company, well, you basically can't have an anti-war movie because then your other movies won't get the funding. So there's this whole big mess. So I don't know why Tulsi Gabbard is getting all these hit pieces written about her, but I think it's interesting. And I think that everybody should pay just a little more attention to her as a result. I'm not claiming that Tulsi Gabbard's a libertarian. Tulsi Gabbard is not a libertarian, but it's interesting to see what happens when a candidate takes a marginal anti-war position. What happens to them?
It looks like there's a lot of Tulsi support here in New Hampshire. Yesterday morning in Concord, I was out there early in the morning, and one of the big intersections had 4 or 5 people on each corner waving Tulsi signs. And then for weeks now, I've been seeing Tulsi signs popping up everywhere in people's yards.
And so here's my thought on Tulsi Gabbard. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be a Democratic nominee for President of the United States of America sometime in the near future.
Yep.
It's going to happen in 2020, which is just around the corner. And I don't care whether you're happy about it or unhappy about it. I don't care if you intend to vote or don't intend to vote. I don't care about any of that. What I'm saying is it's going to happen. There will be one. And that person is very, very likely to be what you identify as a socialist. Because that's what one of the complaints that the libertarians will say about Tulsi Gabbard.
They're pretty much all socialists, though.
She's a socialist. Well, duh. I mean, take a look at Sanders, Warren, you take
Biden,
a look, Booker, right. I mean, these are different flavors of socialist, different varying shades of pink as far as I'm concerned. Sanders, he's basically bright red. Biden, he's a chartreuse. I'm sorry, he's a mauve. Whatever. There's just different shades of commie.
I'm hoping it's Joe Biden because I really want to just be able to troll him with Vermin Supreme. I mean, if he comes over and starts petting a mane on my pony, I'm going to let him do it, maybe encourage him to do it so Vermin Supreme can start, basically cursing him out for, touching our 10-year-old pony on the mane like that.
That's hilarious.
Creepy Joe stuff.
So, would I like to see Tulsi Gabbard win the Democratic nomination for president? Yes. Yes, I would. I would like to see an anti-war candidate on the general ballot. And would I vote for? I don't know. I don't care.
Well, here's the way
I know that the reality is that we're going to have a president is going to be elected or reelected on November the first week of November, the Tuesday of the first Tuesday of November. There is going to be somebody elected president of the United States. You can bury your head in the sand. You can talk about how voting is violence or whatever the hell you want to talk about, whatever nonsense you want to dribble. But there's going to be one, and whatever support you choose to give today, because the candidates that stay in the race, the candidate that wins the Democratic nomination is the one that stays in the race. And the one that stays in the race is the one that's funded at this point. Votes don't matter. Money matters.
If we get an actual anti-war socialistic president in there, now Bernie Sanders is not anti-war. He supported war consistently.
He supported the F-35 to the tune of like $1 trillion.
He supports war consistently, supports sanctions, but that is one of the things I feel the president probably can actually do if they're not worried about much blowback, and if they're really truly anti-war, they can shut the war machine off. But a socialist president is not going to be able to drive this country into socialism. It's going to be too much with the legislator and just the people.
Right, the president is the commander in chief, but he is not chief lawmaker.
But they can shut the war off.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free, as in Free Talk Live.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,418, silver at $16.38, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,142. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime personal pilots have been subpoenaed by federal prosecutors in Manhattan, according to the Wall Street Journal. The grand jury subpoenas were served earlier this month following Epstein's July 6 arrest in New Jersey on charges of sex trafficking minors. He has pleaded not guilty to the years-long scheme in which prosecutors allege the wealthy financier sexually abused dozens of young girls from 2002 to 2005. Some of whom recruited other victims. The Mind Unleashed reports it's unknown how many of Epstein's pilots were subpoenaed, or whether they're cooperating witnesses. According to court documents from prior cases, Epstein employed David Rogers, Larry Vasosky, Larry Morrison, and Bill Hammond as pilots and flight engineers. Rogers, Vasosky, and Morrison have previously testified in civil depositions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. In the latest move to undermine the separation of church and state in the United States, a new law in South Dakota is requiring all public schools in the state to prominently display the motto, "In God We Trust." The Mind Unleashed reports the new law, which decrees that schools must emblazon the message across 149 South Dakota school districts, was pushed by lawmakers who argue that the theological slogan is meant to inspire patriotism. Governor Kristi Noem signed off on the law in March. The law requires that the motto must be both legible and 12 by 12 inches in size. In a Thursday Twitter post, the governor said, quote, "We should never be afraid to proclaim that we are one nation under God," end quote. The new law has provoked controversy in many of the state's communities, with critics condemning the law as part of a stealth campaign aiming to infuse religious indoctrination into state legislation. In a bipartisan deal that one anti-war critic said demonstrates how thoroughly broken and captured Washington is by the Pentagon, 219 House Democrats and 65 Republicans on Thursday voted to approve a budget agreement that includes $1.48 trillion in military spending over the next 2 years. Just 16 Democrats, including Representatives Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley, voted against the two-year, $2.7 trillion budget agreement. Largely due to expressed concerns about the deficit, 132 Republicans also voted no. The final vote was 284 to 149. The House passage of the budget deal, which President Donald Trump quickly applauded on Twitter as a victory for the military, comes after the Congressional Progressive Caucus threatened in April to tank the measure. But most of the Progressive Caucus voted for the agreement on Thursday, pointing to increases in domestic spending. Facebook has dealt a massive blow to the police accountability movement, unpublishing Police to Police, the largest police accountability page on the platform. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Following reports of a newly posted job listing at area marketing firm Swenson Digital, The Onion spoke to a few of the 1,400 applicants who claim they are, quote, absolutely perfect for this position.
When I first saw this opening, I knew it was right for me. I've got tons of experience. I've got all the skills they're looking for.
If you look at my resume, I've got everything they're looking for. I mean, I've held similar jobs like this in the past. I'm extremely driven. I really think this is going to work out.
I've got a BA in marketing, which the posting said was recommended, so I think that'll bode really well for me. I've had plenty of team experience, and I think that would stand out. Not to mention the fact that I'm great with
web design and HTML, and pretty proficient with Excel and PowerPoint. Also, I think the culture is
very me, you know. I think I'd fit in well with the other employees. I also think I had a great
resume and cover letter. I think as soon as they interview me, they'll see I'm the perfect candidate.
As of this video's release, Swenson Digital had extended a job offer to an applicant who happens to be a friend of the boss's son.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. You can call in and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about here on the airwaves. We just finished talking about veterans' opinions on the conflicts that have gone on for the last 20 years, and certainly your thoughts are welcome. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. That's one thing that Free Talk Live does differently than other radio programs, is if you have an opinion on something we talked about last hour, last week, or last year, or anything.
Or just got your own opinion.
Just have your own opinion. You're welcome to call in on it and, do it that way because, it's Free Talk Live. Let's go to the phones, though. We've got Tom in Hudson. That's Hudson, New Hampshire, calling in. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
And it's about the presidential primaries. And I'm thinking that the best advice for the Democrats, the one thing they need to do, if they hate Trump, then they should switch to independent, should undeclared, no party affiliation now, while they still can, because there's going to be a deadline coming up. Switch to no party affiliation or to Republican, so that in the Republican presidential primary, then they can vote for William Weld, because most Republicans, at first, they started trying to distance themselves from Donald Trump because he's a crazy madman and a bigot and a racist and everything else. But then they saw how many sickos there are out there who support his message, and so they stayed, party loyalty preempts principle for most of them. But William Weld was, meanwhile, running as the Libertarian candidate for vice president. So he wasn't doing that. And so if they defeat Trump in the primary, then they got him. They don't have to defeat him in the general election, and they don't have to worry about who's going to win the Democratic nomination, because it's guaranteed that one of the Democrats is going to win the Democratic nomination and is going to pick another Democrat
Tom,
for running mate.
I am as I'm supportive of minor parties as anyone out there, but even I can't look at the William Weld campaign and think that it has much of a chance of doing anything. I mean, it seems like if you give money to this campaign, you're just throwing it down a hole, aren't you?
That's if you give money to it, but if you vote, which is worse, wasting your vote on somebody who winds up not winning the nomination. See, if they switch to Republican and vote for him, then that's trying to stop Donald Trump. That's all they're trying to do, is stop Donald Trump. So they can vote.
I can't see any of the Americans who receive farm subsidies, giving a crap about William Weld at all. But I could tell you they're really pro-Trump. I worked with a lot of those guys.
Yeah, there's fewer and fewer people getting farm subsidies these days because there's fewer and fewer farmers, though.
Well, they employ a lot. They got a lot of employees and a lot of those businesses. Well, some of these farms. I mean, when you're farming 4,000 acres, it takes a lot of manpower, and all these little rural American towns, which are obviously because of the college, the electorate. They're
electoral college. What?
It's got just as much power as the people in the cities.
I thought you said it takes a lot of manpower.
Yes.
So that's politically incorrect because women can work on farms. How dare you say something politically incorrect? Goodbye now.
Well, a woman is a man with a womb. The word person is what I don't like to say because a person means corporation, trust, or legal entity. Men and women are not always persons, but some of them do impersonate persons.
There you go. So, I mean, I don't know what necessarily I think about Tom's idea, but, there you go. That's his idea, and that's what Free Talk Live is, a place for you to share ideas. So, going from that to this article, it's about the Marshmallow Test. And this is from getpocket.com. Why rich kids are so good at the Marshmallow Test. Jay, let me tell you about the Marshmallow Test here real quick.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I don't know that
I like marshmallows.
I've seen this on TV. Basically, the idea is you take a kid, you put a little bowl of candy or marshmallows in front of them. So marshmallows is what they started with. And said, you can have one marshmallow now. Or if you can wait 15 minutes, then you can have two. And more or less what the idea was is to see how they do with delayed gratification.
I wonder how many kids just grab a handful and just eat them.
Right, they're right there. Why not have all of them?
Beat for it,
But there's precedence to this. Like you go into the bank or you go into somebody's office and there's candy in a jar. The expectation is that you will take a piece. Maybe if you finish your piece that you might have another. But it's not really considerate. It wouldn't be considerate if you took the bowl, dumped it into your bag, and then put the bowl back out, right? So, even though, it's free, right?
I grew up with kids that absolutely would have done that.
So anyway, this says the Marshmallow Test is one of the most famous pieces of social science research. Put a marshmallow in front of a child. Tell her, I guess, that she can have a second one if she can go 15 minutes without eating the first one and then leave the room. Whether she's patient enough to double her payment is supposed to be indicative of a willpower that will pay dividends down the line. At school and eventually at work, passing the test is, to many, a promising signal of future success. And that's how I heard it, and it made perfectly good sense to me when I heard about the Marshmallow Test. But there's a new study that has cast a whole new concept, the whole concept into doubt. And we'll go on with that. But first I want to go to the phones. We've got Jay calling in from California. Jay, you're on Free Talk Live.
You're that dumb kid in class who thinks he's smart.
There we go. That is not Jay. That is a man who has been banned from the airwaves. So whatever. Let's see. The new study has cast the whole concept into doubt. The researchers at NYU's Tyler Watts and UC Irvine's Greg Duncan and Hoanan Kwan restaged the classic Marshmallow Test, which was developed by the Stanford psychologist Walter Mitchell in the 1960s. Mitchell and his colleagues administered the test and then tracked down tracked how children went into to fare on in life later. They described the results in a 1990 study, which suggested the delayed gratification had huge benefits, including such measures as standardized test scores. Watts and his colleagues were skeptical of that finding. The original results were based on studies that included fewer than 90 children. Seems like you should have more than that. All enrolled in a preschool at on Stanford's campus in restaging the experiment. Watts and his colleagues thus adjusted the experimental design in important ways. The researchers used a sample that was much larger, more than 900 children, and also more representative of the general populations in terms of race, ethnicity, and parents' education. The researchers also, when analyzing the test results, controlled for certain factors, such as the income of the child's household, and that might explain a child's ability to delay gratification and their long-term success. And this is kind of interesting. So would we sort of culturally, if you split things along demographic lines? I don't like to split anything by groups, personally.
I mean, the preschool at Stanford, not anybody can just drop their kid off and go to work, right? That's probably for moms who are studying at Stanford, I would understand.
I don't know.
I would think.
But you certainly, any geographic area is probably not going to be controlled for income and not going to be controlled for race and not going to be controlled for all these things. So
and another thing too is preschool's expensive.
Yeah.
If you're living on welfare and just hanging out at home, you're not getting a preschool voucher because you're not working. You get to take care of your own kids, or just keep on changing the channel for them or refreshing the YouTube. That's the way most of them do it today.
That's the truth. So ultimately, the new studies finds limited support for the idea that being able to delay gratification leads to better outcomes. Instead, it suggests that the capacity to hold out for a second marshmallow is shaped in a large part by a child's social and economic background. And in turn, that background, not the ability to delay gratification, is what's behind a kid's long-term success. So this... remember, I've grown up in a world where the Marshmallow Test was considered science. So I've got a bias. That bias is I believe that delayed gratification works. I believe that if you can take, with a little bit of information and delayed gratification, that you can do pretty well in life. Free Talk Live. I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, Without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind, or you can wait till the last half hour, like everybody does.
I don't know why people
every
do that.
day. I don't either.
And then they get mad, they get cut off.
Right. How come I don't get enough time? Well, because you wait till the last half hour. Yeah. Anyway, the number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. We're talking about the Marshmallow Test. If you don't know what it is, I'll explain it to you here in a second. But you can also call in by using the Discord lines. If you go to discord.freetalklive.com, discord.freetalklive.com, you will be able to download an app, and that app will allow you to call in on your cell phone and sound significantly better. You'll just sound a lot better. You'll also be able to participate in the chat room with all the wonderful folks that are in the chat right now. All our good trolls that are in there. Oh, by the way, they're asking about where Angie is. Angie has had an illness in the family, and she is unable to come right now, but she will be, she'll be back. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, she will be back in 2 weeks because she has something else planned for next week.
Yeah, I don't know what the specifics are.
I'm going to try to bring in a special guest that day, but I haven't got a confirmation yet.
We'll see how that goes. I want to tell you about libertystickers.com. If you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty, you can do it from the back of your car with libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with a bumper sticker. Just think if you drive a lot, you'll certainly reach even more. And you know that people love to read them. You can check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic, liberty-oriented messages over at libertystickers.com.
They are great stickers. I just went on their website. Make Orwellian fiction again.
That's a good one. libertystickers.com. Going on with this article from getpocket.com regarding the marshmallow test, which is basically a kid being put in front of a marshmallow and said, you can have one marshmallow now, or you can eat this marshmallow, or you can wait 15 minutes and get a second marshmallow. And the idea is to see which kids have delayed gratification, which ones don't. What the claim is that now that we're doing the science again, they're controlling for things like race and income and background and all just kind of stuff, and that maybe it means different things, like rich people are better at teaching their kids about delayed gratification, and rich people are better at their kids doing well. Their kids tend to do better, so maybe it's just that. And I don't know, but I can tell you that I certainly have a bias towards delayed gratification. But I was just listening to a podcast today that was talking about the benefits, the cost of the real cost of a car. And the suggestion was over the course of 45 years, two different things were done. One was just made an experiment, right? One, you spend $300 a month every month on a car. And I'd say that's pretty conservative as to what America tends to spend on a car. Would you, Jay? This is just like car payment, by the way.
I mean, you can actually go lease a small car. I know somebody's leasing right now like a brand new car for like $99 a month. It's
but I'll bet you that their mileage is really low, and they're liable to have to pay extra when they bring it back.
Yeah, I think they're allowed like 7,500 miles a year or something. Yeah, it was definitely like they drive, the other significant other's car when they're going to go somewhere far away.
Yep.
But they just the one particular guy likes to have a shiny car.
Yep, and you can find those things, but there's a lot of people that spend more than $300 a month on a car payment. So if you just take straight $300 a month for 45 years, then we know what that costs, right? We live that way. The second option was to buy a new car every 15 years and then pay it off over the course of 5 years, and then take that remainder of that payment, that $300, and throw it into it was a money market thing matching it was a Vanguard matching fund for the S&P at 8%, was the claim. So just increased it at 8%. And they said that at the end of that time period, when you retire or whatever, you'd have $750,000. This was just the car cost. This isn't talking about saving any money otherwise.
There's very few Americanized people that will drive the same car for 15 years.
Right. I can't say I'm good at that. I like to have a new, different car all the time. I just like it. I want every 2 years, I want a new car. Now, that doesn't mean I get one.
Yeah, I'm the total opposite.
See,
I really hate payments.
Yes.
And I like buying something that every car I've owned, have bought a couple brand new ones when I was in the hay business and really needing to have a new reliable truck. And I realized after I did that a few times, that was a waste of money for what I do, because I could buy a truck that was just reliable, a few years old for half the money. But now that I got a couple of pickup trucks, and they're basically trucks that people hated, and I got them from, a very, very minimal amount, and they've been good to me.
Yeah, if you can.
But I can fix them.
Right. If you can keep your costs down on a car, you certainly, it required two things for this sort of system to work. One was keeping your costs down on a vehicle. I've always been pretty good at that. The most expensive car that's ever been mine is the one I currently have. It's a Honda Civic, and I got it in 2018 at a 2016. It was a 2016, and I bought it in 2018. And
it was a demo car, right?
Yeah, it was already it was already cheap. So, that was a big, huge splurge for me. And you're talking about $20,000 for a car. This is sort of normal for many people, like getting out of high school. They're taking on this kind of debt. I didn't do that until I was 47.
Oh, I have some buddies that, they've literally financed cars right out of high school. And then, a couple of years later, hey, can I park my car up at your farm? Because the repo guy is looking for it.
Great.
I mean, I got that call a lot.
So anyway, the Marshmallow Test isn't the only experimental study that has recently failed to hold up under closer scrutiny. Some scholars and journalists have gone so far as to suggest that psychology is in the midst of a replication crisis. In the case of this new study, specifically the failure to confirm old assumptions pointed to an important truth, that circumstances matter more than shaping children's lives than Michael and his colleagues seem to appreciate. This is Mitchell, Mitchell and his colleagues seem to appreciate. This is the scientist that they're referring to from the 60s. This new paper found that among kids whose mothers had a college degree, those who waited for a second marshmallow did no better in the long run in terms of standardized test scores and mothers' reports of their children's behavior than those who dug right in. So let's get that right.
Standardized test reports. I have no faith in that. Does any real world the standardized test reports are just so some company can just charge a school district a ridiculous amount of money, like just MCAS and all that stuff, and just and then give back to the political, and donate a lot to the teachers union or something. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know what, maybe delayed gratification. If you're talking about an 8-year-old or something, right, and delayed gratification, maybe is indicative of something. Maybe it's not, because I know a lot of kids. I've known kids that were good savers when they were kids, and they've grown up to be bad savers.
And I also know siblings in the same family who I am almost positive I'd love to try this with a couple of them. That one sibling would definitely take the marshmallow, and the other sibling would just chill out.
Mm-hmm.
The other sibling might say, hey, if I wait a half an hour, can I have 4?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking I'm going to hear from one of them.
Indeed. The number, 855-450-FREE. Did you believe this? Does it matter to you? What are your thoughts? 855-450-FREE, as in freedom, here on Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
And Jay. Here on Free Talk Live. If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we're on the air and you can call in. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. Do you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty? freedomsphoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. It's freedomsphoenix.com. I get their daily dispatch. I actually get it twice a day, and I'm very happy I do. It's the foundation of my show prep for this show. Freedomsphoenix.com.
Yeah, I looked at it actually yesterday for a little while. I was sitting in a waiting room, and about 1/3 of every third article was something about Epstein.
Epstein's going to be in an interesting situation.
Pretty interesting that Trump, several years ago, had actually banned him from all of his properties.
Really?
And I had read a little blurb about that. I can't remember if it was 2014 or 2009, but those were, for some reason, the dates that are in my head. But yeah, he banned him, and Trump's like, never liked the guy. And
then he says he's a great guy.
That's the only quote they have. They're trying to find a way to, the mainstream media that hates Trump wants to find, a video of, Epstein and Trump and a couple little girls. That's what they're looking for.
Sure.
Or something that they can, push towards that. But yet,
while hiding all the Bill Clinton ones.
Well, and Bill Clinton's been on that plane 26 or 27 or 28 times, is the reports I've heard. And now they're subpoenaing it. If you listen to the LRN feed, you'll hear on the in the commercials, the guys, I forget who they are down in Texas, that do some of the things on the LRN, the report. They're talking about that the pilots are all going to be subpoenaed, all Epstein's pilots, because it's like
they would likely know.
The records say Bill Clinton and 2 unknown women.
Yeah.
This guy and 3 unknown women.
Right.
But those pilots, I guess, are somehow
responsible for doing something.
It's like an FCC FFA or whatever regulation that they need to write down who's on board. That manifest is very important. I mean, obviously, the plane goes down and you want
to know who's there.
You got to notify people.
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
There's a lot of unidentified young women, and then so these guys are also brought forward, and there's been a whole bunch of cases, civil cases against Epstein, where these pilots were brought in as witnesses in civil cases that were either settled out of court. I don't know if there was any actual judgments against him, but he's paid out $30 million or something. It's crazy numbers with this stuff.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to how he got brought up, because he's got so many powerful people that really don't want him to be arrested, and power makes a difference. What happened?
I got a Trumpster friend that was telling me the other day, and he's probably listening, that this is why Trump became president, because he realized that Jeffrey Epstein was a creep. And another thing I had read on one of the Freedom's Phoenix dispatches is that there was an article how Trump was provided actual support back when, a few years ago, when he, 6-7 years ago, he was had a plea bargain with the feds down there in Miami and went to a cushy prison for one night a week or something. Epstein. And Trump actually provided support for the prosecution, actually literally gave him a couple of his own attorneys to help investigate and helped with investigation. And because Trump was really upset about some conduct of Epstein and one of his employees in one of his casinos or hotels or something, and banned him. And so my Trumpster buddy was all like, oh, well, Trump needed to wait till he become president till he could do something about this, and he had to gather evidence, and he had to build a cabinet.
So Epstein has been brought up on charges because of Trump? Interesting.
Well, because Trump wants to put pedophiles away, and nobody else would do it. According to a Trump worshipper.
We'll see. I don't know. I think it's all very interesting. But I want to finish this article from getpocket.com that's on the Marshmallow Test, talking about sort of the tests that have been done that we all sort of grew up with, believing that, say, for instance, if a kid can delay eating a marshmallow for 15 minutes in order to get 2 marshmallows, that kid is more likely to be a success than not.
So what do you do with that kid versus the kid that just eats the marshmallow?
I don't say you do anything with them, but the paper here recently, the new paper says that among kids whose mothers had a college degree, so the mothers had a college degree, those who waited for a second marshmallow did no better in the long run than those in terms of standardized tests at school and the mother's reports of the child's behavior. So this isn't taking a long look at the kids, whereas the 1990 report took a longer view, and maybe that's the case. I don't know. Similarly, among kids whose mothers did not have college degrees, those who waited did no better than those who gave in to temptation once other factors like household income and the child's home environment at age 3, evaluated according to a standard research measure that notes, for instance, the number of books that researchers observed in the home and how responsive mothers were to their children in the researchers' presence were taken into account. For those kids, self-control alone couldn't overcome economic and social disadvantages. The failed replication of the Marshmallow Test does more than just debunk the earlier notion. It suggests that other possible explanations for why poor kids would be less motivated to wait for that second marshmallow. For them, daily life holds fewer guarantees. There might be food in the pantry today. Oh, I hate this stuff. Where in America are people starving? I suppose that, yes, there are kids that don't have control over their acquisition of food, and whether they call this food insecurity or something like that. But, this adults that can't get food, amazing to me. Now,
yeah, I mean, they pass out food stamps like, you just go ask for them and just give them to you. You don't even have to really provide any reason or whatever. They'll give you emergency food stamps. And also, there's so much cheap government subsidized food. The people that are really starving are the ones who are starving for actual nutrition and minerals, obese people who are getting all these empty calories. But I was in Walmart the other day, and I saw this thing. I'm trying to find it on my phone here. And there is a product shortage due to limited availability. We're experiencing product shortage across this category. And this was canned foods aisle. And it was kind of bare. I mean, it wasn't totally bare, but it was like kind of bare. And I had I've been hearing some stuff about this, and I just happened to be in Walmart and saw it. So I guess there's been some crop failures. We might actually see something like that. But are people actually starving? I don't think so. I mean, even the homeless dudes that I see in Manchester, they don't look malnourished.
They're not svelte.
No.
Yeah. So the claim is there might be food in the pantry today, but there might not be tomorrow. So there is a risk that comes with waiting. Even if their parents promise to buy more of a certain food, sometimes that promise gets broken out of financial necessity. I'll go for that, right? Like, sorry, there aren't going to be any more Fruity Bam Bams this week or whatever.
Well, and in my family, one thing is my mom would buy some Lucky Charms once in a while, and, we knew the next day that there was only one bowl left in there. So usually who got to it first, there was 4 kids, 4 boys,
Tore into it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for kids who come from households headed by parents who are better educated, and by the way, that's an interesting point, is poor people are more likely to have more kids, so therefore there's less guarantee that the food that they want in a household with more kids is even going to be there. So meanwhile, for kids who come from households headed by parents who are better educated and earn more money, likely fewer kids in the house, it's typically easier to delay gratification. Experience tends to tell them that adults that have resources and financial stability to keep the pantry well stocked. And this is true. My son, whatever his, if he manages to get some candy somehow, like he saves up his money and he buys himself a bag of candy, we're not going to eat it, or at least not much of it. So it's going to be there because there's only one kid. And even if these children don't delay gratification, they can trust that things will all work out in the end. Even if they don't get the second marshmallow, they can probably count on their parents to take them for ice cream instead. So there you go. 855-450-3733. What do you think about the Marshmallow Test? What do you think about the new Marshmallow Test and its results? Because I don't even know what to think here.
Be interesting to see what the Amish kids did with this, because I used to pay them in candy.
855-450-3733.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits, at mypatriotsupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at mypatriotsupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. mypatriotsupply.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Yeah. Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
Want to tell you about the AMP program. You can be like Roscoe S. is, and you can be an amplifier. You go to amp.freetalklive.com. That's AMP. AMP is an advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. And you can give us $5 a month. And what do you get? The satisfaction of knowing that you're helping to support the, one of the most cost-effective ways to spread the ideas of liberty around the world, an organization that allows free speech on its airwaves, and that's pretty special. But you'll also get a few perks. We try to make it easier for amplifiers. There's a Facebook group and a few other things where you can chit chat with me and the other amplifiers.
Is there an amp call-in line also?
There is an amp call-in line. It doesn't get used much, and I wouldn't be able to tell you the number anyway. But yes, well, I wouldn't have to tell you the number because we don't give it out. It's only given to amplifiers. So right. You can get more information at amp.freetalklive.com. Sign up, and you'll get the call-in line.
I think that's a great benefit, the amp call-in line.
Well, I hope I see it flashing, but right now it's not flashing at this moment. Speaking of folks calling in, let's go to Dave calling in from Colorado. Normally Dave in New Hampshire, but now Dave in Colorado. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been away from New Hampshire for about a week and a half, and it's like the little people struggle against the government has heated up as soon as I left. So maybe I should leave more often, but.
How long are you going to be there for, Dave?
Oh, I'm not sure yet. My folks have requested my presence because my mother is in ill health.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's a little bit dependent on her status, yeah.
And are you somewhere around Denver?
Nope, Colorado Springs.
Okay. Well, you're not too far from Denver. There's a great network of libertarians and anarchists in Denver. It's if you Google "We Are Change Colorado," wearechangecolorado.org. You could find these guys. They meet up on Mondays. There's a Liberty on the Rocks. Actually, there's Liberty on the Rocks in Colorado Springs, also Boulder and Denver. They're pretty good place.
Liberty
You'll
okay.
Check that stuff out.
I'll look that up. Yeah, it's interesting. During the Ron Paul thing, it seemed like there was a really active Colorado Springs Liberty community to hook up with. Now it's hard to find any of them. So I don't know, but anyway.
So what's on your mind, Dave?
The thing that was going on in New Hampshire that I wanted to talk about was this is one of the craziest things I've heard yet. Richmond, New Hampshire, according to the union leader, there's this guy named Alex Leduc. I hope I'm saying that right. And I guess he recently moved there, and he's like a military truck collector. So he has a collection of military
trucks. I love those. Right? Who doesn't love that, right? Everybody loves to see an old military truck.
They are pretty interesting.
No, not everybody. Not the town of Richmond, New Hampshire. Which
all right.
Gave him grief. Now, you can't have those trucks. They're junky looking. You got to do this or that. So he tries to think, okay, so what I'll do is I'll try and sell some of the parts and reduce the amount of junk that's on the property, okay? Now, as soon as he started doing that, they said, oh, well, now you're operating a business. You can't do that. And they took him to court. And additionally, they also punished him for he applied for a permit so he could build a garage to cover the vehicles so it wouldn't look junky. And they stopped him from doing that too. Apparently, according to the union leader, they wouldn't let him have the permit to build the garage to do what they were asking him to do.
Sounds like a lot of fun there in Richmond. Yeah?
Sounds like I need to become friends with this guy and chat with him a little bit. It sounds like this guy might be motivated to, get involved, maybe run for town council or town selectman there, and try to change some things. Maybe not, but these town bureaucrats. I mean, you got to stand up to them. These people got to stop rolling over, stop just doing what they're told, and start demanding via public records request. How these guys have the authority to essentially rule your life.
Yeah,
and make some noise about it.
Two other bad things here. He can't even go to his own court to deal with this. He has to go out of town, like out of county, because apparently there's some kind of conflict of interest at the Cheshire court, the local county court.
Okay.
And then I guess the other thing is he did even. This guy he's like a ninja in terms of how much he's trying to do to be helpful and a good neighbor and do what the government wants him to. And I guess he took some of the trucks and parked them at a neighbor's house so that they wouldn't be a problem. The neighbor got in trouble. So, I mean, how on earth, I mean, at least according to the union leader, all these things happen.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I mean, I don't think of Richmond as a place that has a lot of rules as far as what you can do and what you can't. I lived outside of Keene, And the town I lived in wouldn't have had any rules at all, that they could have gone after me if I'd decided to have a tank and a deuce and a half and whatever I wanted on my property. There wouldn't have been anything they could have said.
Probably what
I
happened.
bought the property with a 59 Buick just rusting on it.
Probably what happened in Richmond, because it's so close to Massachusetts, a bunch of massholes have come up and masked it up.
Yep, they do mask it up.
Well, one other thing, you may have noticed if you've listened to the show like every night, for the last couple of weeks. It seems like whenever I call, I've got this really cool union leader report just to pass on. And it seems like the quality of the reporting, or at least the fact that they're raising concerns about little people against the government, it seems like they're doing it a lot lately. And I just have to take my hat off for once to a mainstream press outlet. The union leader has never been terrible, but it seems like it's getting a little better.
Is this a particular author that's you've been picking this up from?
Well, I can't remember which. Okay, this one is from someone I'm not that familiar with, Damian Fisher. But there was another report. There's another reporter that seems like I'm seeing more and more doing this kind of story. But I'm not sure. I think it's Kimberly Hoffman or something like that. I can't remember exactly what her name is. But we complain so much about the media not standing up to the government, and it's nice to see something else happening.
Well, it is that I like to see good things happening, but oftentimes it requires a situation where somebody's getting gone after, and that seems to be what's happening in this situation. I hope this guy can work something out and be able to keep his hobbies, his military vehicles, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think the first thing he needs to do is send a fee schedule to the town of Richmond, New Hampshire, letting them know that he requires $50,000 per hour each time the town of Richmond gives him an order. That's what I've done, because when men with guns order me to do something, I'm not going to not do what they tell me. They might torture or kill me or someone I love or even my dog. Well, I don't even have a dog right now, but they're going to pay for it when they order me to do something. Now, I doubt I'll ever collect anything, but I'll certainly be able to put some dings on their bond rating when I do a claim against the town with the risk management division for, basically violating my rights and, ordering me to do something. And I charge $50,000 an hour to work for government, and if they don't want to pay me that, they need to renegotiate the price or not give me any orders.
I've always thought that kind of line with the government would be more effective if the amount charged were a little bit less ludicrous. Like if you were just trying to say, okay, I just want reimbursement for my time. I want $20 an hour. It's not an unreasonable request. If you expect my time filling out this paperwork, I expect that money. I think people would probably support that position a lot more strongly than the one that you're making.
If they don't want to pay the $50,000 per hour, I put right in my fee schedule, please contact me and we'll renegotiate the rate, or don't give me any orders. When they order you to do something, there's nothing you can do except for carry out the order or eat a bullet, as far as I'm concerned. So I got to put a price on what it's worth for me to be interrupted from whatever I'm doing for an hour or so, even if it's several hours, and it's got to be $50,000. I mean, I'll do it for $20,000, $30,000, or $40,000 if they want to come back with a counter offer.
I wish I could get Jay for $20 an hour at my house. I've got a lot of things that you could do at $20 an hour, pal.
I'm pretty, yeah. I've been just turning down work. I gotta get this roof on the house. I got a baby coming.
Yeah,
I got stuff to do.
Congratulations, Dave. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, guys.
855-450-3733. Know anything about this baby?
No, we just we don't know anything about the sex or anything. It's too early yet.
Okay,
but we got confirmation that it's at a healthy point right now.
Okay,
so,
we got a date.
Sometime in February.
Okay, that's good. That's something to know about the baby.
Yep.
We got a heartbeat.
Yep, got a heartbeat. Yep.
Oh, I love those things.
Got to see it jump around on the monitor a little bit with the ultrasound. That was a surreal moment for me. I mean, I was like, wow. It's just like, I got goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and it'll be a big change of life for you, no doubt, and that'll be very exciting. And I must say, I give you complete dispensation to name the child after me.
Oh, thank you.
The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom, here on Free Talk Live.
don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,418, silver at $16.38, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,142. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime personal pilots have been subpoenaed by federal prosecutors in Manhattan, according to the Wall Street Journal. The grand jury subpoenas were served earlier this month following Epstein's July 6 arrest in New Jersey on charges of sex trafficking minors. He has pleaded not guilty to the years-long scheme in which prosecutors allege the wealthy financier sexually abused dozens of young girls from 2002 to 2005. Some of whom recruited other victims. The Mind Unleashed reports it's unknown how many of Epstein's pilots were subpoenaed, or whether they're cooperating witnesses. According to court documents from prior cases, Epstein employed David Rogers, Larry Vasosky, Larry Morrison, and Bill Hammond as pilots and flight engineers. Rogers, Vasosky, and Morrison have previously testified in civil depositions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. In the latest move to undermine the separation of church and state in the United States, a new law in South Dakota is requiring all public schools in the state to prominently display the motto, "In God We Trust." The Mind Unleashed reports the new law, which decrees that schools must emblazon the message across 149 South Dakota school districts, was pushed by lawmakers who argue that the theological slogan is meant to inspire patriotism. Governor Kristi Noem signed off on the law in March. The law requires that the motto must be both legible and 12 by 12 inches in size. In a Thursday Twitter post, the governor said, quote, "We should never be afraid to proclaim that we are one nation under God," end quote. The new law has provoked controversy in many of the state's communities, with critics condemning the law as part of a stealth campaign aiming to infuse religious indoctrination into state legislation. In a bipartisan deal that one anti-war critic said demonstrates how thoroughly broken and captured Washington is by the Pentagon, 219 House Democrats and 65 Republicans on Thursday voted to approve a budget agreement that includes $1.48 trillion in military spending over the next 2 years. Just 16 Democrats, including Representatives Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley, voted against the 2-year, $2.7 trillion budget agreement. Largely due to expressed concerns about the deficit, 132 Republicans also voted no. The final vote was 284 to 149. The House passage of the budget deal, which President Donald Trump quickly applauded on Twitter as a victory for the military, comes after the Congressional Progressive Caucus threatened in April to tank the measure. But most of the Progressive Caucus voted for the agreement on Thursday, pointing to increases in domestic spending. Facebook has dealt a massive blow to the police accountability movement, unpublishing Police to Police, the largest police accountability page on the platform. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
It's the Onion Radio News. Raccoon leaders call for the loosening of garbage can lids. This is Doyle Redland reporting. In a 4 a.m. speech at the group's annual Washington, D.C. convention this morning, North American Raccoon Federation President Bristletail called upon homeowners to loosen the lids of their garbage cans, providing the ring-tailed mammals with greater access to discarded food scraps during nocturnal scavenging.
Every time you seal a standard 30-gallon garbage can, as many as 6 raccoons are forced to go without their necessary daily supply of congealed baked beans, rancid cottage cheese chunks, and moldy cantaloupe rinds.
The 26-pound varmint closed his speech with a stern warning that without raccoons, possums could take over the world. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. It's the final hour, and you can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom, here on Free Talk Live. And, well, that's what we do here. You call in and talk about whatever you want. But until then, I got an interesting story. It's from InsideSources.com, and it's about e-cigarettes. 43 million Americans live in poverty, and the numbers are not diminishing. Certainly, poverty is complicated, and there are economic and social, cultural issues at play. But there's more government can do or not do to ease the burden on the working poor. Sarah Green, associate professor of law at Duke University, thinks there is. She argues that too often state and local governments impose laws and regulations that cumulatively and too often invisibly hurt the poor people that we ought to be trying to help. From driver's license suspension to eviction laws, these revenue-generating punishments disproportionately criminalize working Americans and perpetuate the spiral of poverty.
That's the agenda of the system. Keep them down so they have to always struggle.
And I think a lot of people see this. They look at poor people. They say there's bad decisions being made, and there are, right? Like, a lot of times cigarette smoking done by poor people
If it wasn't for
disproportionately.
taxation and government regulation, I believe poverty would pretty much be to the folks who have serious mental disabilities. Like all the homeless people I pretty much meet, they have a mental disability is what I've determined.
There are people who can't work.
Especially here in New Hampshire, where there is a help wanted sign everywhere, and there has been for 2.5 years since I've been here.
I don't know what it's like in other places, but I'm fascinated by this fight for 15 that continues to go on when I see signs on the side of the road advertising $23 an hour for warehouse workers.
Yeah, there's a place I just drove by, Bow, New Hampshire, $25, Route 3A. Apply immediately, it said, and it's a scaffolding company, and a Burger King, McDonald's it was, down in Derry that I walked through the door the other day. It was part of a gas station. It's hiring starting $12 an hour. McDonald's.
Yeah. I can't understand why people are going to work at McDonald's when they can go to work at these other places, but maybe it's because of age or flexibility of hours or whatever it might be.
And it was a bunch of retirees in at McDonald's. I had all the people I glanced at, they definitely all had AARP cards. They were eligible.
So one such new example is the trend towards criminalizing the ownership and use of e-cigarettes and other vaping products. With an uptick in teen vaping, lawmakers across the country have been proposing everything from excise taxes to flavor bans as a means of curbing teen access. Some municipalities are taking even more drastic steps. Both large cities like San Francisco as well as smaller townships like Morristown, New Jersey, have introduced legislation to ban the sale or even the possession of e-cigarettes. The town of Brookline, Massachusetts, passed a provision last week to ban e-cigarettes, yet left traditional cigarettes on the shelves, creating yet another way otherwise law-abiding citizens may find themselves in trouble. I'd point out that I just went into a vape store. This is the first vape store I've ever been into. I just wanted to see what it was like. What's it like in one of these places?
I haven't even been to one yet.
But this one is in Wapple, New Hampshire, and that means it's right across the state line. And the guy said, "Yeah, we just opened. We left Vermont because they imposed a tax that was doubled the price of all of our products from, like coils and everything. It wasn't just flavored stuff, but it was everything." And Vermont basically went after vape stores, period.
And a coil is a part of a vape that actually gets hot and heats up this vape juice. Now, 2 years ago, I was living here in Keene, and I was riding up with the Keeniacs to the State House and just, sitting in and testifying on bills. And went up there with Darryl Perry one day, and he was doing his Liberty lobby thing. And there was a proposed bill to require merchants, if you want to sell e-cigs, you have to have the same exact permit as someone who's selling actual cigarettes.
Right.
And of course, the state, the chief of police lobbyist dude, he was, all for, this. And and I was one of the guys got to speak. I put it by name, but the lobbyists all went first. So the lobbyist from Philip Morris, not the other big company. It wasn't Philip Morris.
I don't
anyways,
know.
It's a household Reynolds, J.R. Reynolds or whatever it was.
Yeah, J.R. Reynolds. Okay.
He was there. Yeah, we oppose this because it's a health risk and blah blah blah.
It's a health
and
risk.
All this stuff. And I had so much fun. I was the guy right behind him, and everything I had wrote down, I literally didn't even look at it because I just
tossed it.
I just tossed it because I just tore this guy's whole thing apart.
Sure.
And I said, of course, he's a lobbyist for R.J. Reynolds, and he he wants competition out of the way, and of course, the lobbyists for the police, they want more reasons to go harass people.
Well, especially young people. They want to be able to talk to young people because the more you talk to the more contacts you have with young people, the more things you can find to arrest them for. Young people are just easier to arrest, and it's a job. It's a cop's job to arrest people.
Yeah, the less educated someone is, and the less they understand their rights, they're low-hanging fruit for police.
And for me, it's not that I love vapes or anything like that. I don't vape. And I quit smoking a few years before vapes came around. I probably would have switched to them to help facilitate quitting when I quit, but it wasn't really an option when I was doing it. So, forget about it. Well, it doesn't really make a difference. But ultimately here is, first off, we know cigarettes are bad for you.
Yep.
And we know that vaporizers contain fewer of the chemicals that are bad for you from cigarettes.
And you have vape juice options that, like glycol polypropylene is like some of the lower end El Cheapo vape juices have that glycol in them. And what the glycol does is it makes it very stable, the juice, whether it's 110 degrees or whether it's 15 below zero, it's consistent. So what'll happen is if you got like somebody's natural, it's like a vegetable, I can't remember what it's called, vegetable glycerin base. If you leave that in your car and it's like below 45 degrees, that thing's not going to work until you warm it up. Or what can happen is it can actually crack it and freeze it if it gets way down low in the teens. It'll actually break these devices. So you got to be, and some of them I imagine they're expensive like anything else. You got good ones.
Oh, they got $100 ones of these things.
Sure. So you start breaking a couple of those because you left it in your car because you can't bring it into work or because whatever, you forgot it here in New Hampshire in the wintertime. But there's a lot of healthy options in the glycol polypropylene, which is basically your antifreeze, that
doesn't seem particularly healthy.
Right. I mean, it's in, your El Cheapo ranch dressing. It's in a lot of things, glycol polypropylene or polypropylene glycol. I'm sure somebody's yelling at the radio right now. But yeah, that is like the popcorn lung issue they're talking about with vapes. But there's all these vape shops, literally, from what I understand, because I have a close friend who's all about vaping, and she's telling me, I get the vegetable glycerin ones, and then they got the whole organic section.
So there's other options.
There is.
And admittedly, these things haven't been studied. I don't think people should be talking about them being safe, but you're literally comparing them to the biggest plague facing the planet right now, which is the smoking of cigarettes. I don't want to see any laws that disallow somebody from smoking on their own property or someplace where the property owner wants them to smoke, because I believe in freedom. However, I also understand that smoking is not good for you.
And I don't want to see any more taxation or regulations, because taxation and regulations, they really only affect the poor.
Well,
that's it.
they certainly disproportionately affect the poor. And in this case, when you're going after
explanation,
when you go after e-cigarettes, you basically drive up the prices of the e-cigarettes, because people can still get the vape stuff. You drive up the pricing, making it less likely that poor people will go for them. So I have watched people try to make the decision as to whether or not they were going to get an e-cigarette set up for $50 or spend $6 or $7 on the next pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, the tobacco lobby is really anti-e-cigarette, big time.
Well, that tells you something. The number, 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on this? Am I seeing it wrong? 855-450-FREE. As in freedom, here on Free Talk Live, or the Discord rooms at discord.freetalklive.com.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale, totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can call in, talk about whatever you want, but we're talking about vaping here on Free Talk Live. Specifically, an article here from InsideSources.com that is talking about how when they regulate and tax vaping, they drive poor people to smoke. And I think it's true.
Yeah, R.J. Reynolds and Phillips Morris probably realized that, and they're like, yep, we need to...
They probably understand economics.
Absolutely.
And...
yeah, they haven't stayed in business this long, without government helping them monopolize it first off and understanding economics.
I want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is, it should be your first source for all news, crypto, and Bitcoin related. They have their own dedicated team over there, and unlike several crypto news organizations, they've got their own guys and own people. You can go to Bitcoin.com not only to buy Bitcoin Cash, but to get a wallet, to just get started. They've got the get started thing. If you don't know anything about Bitcoin, this is the place to go. This is the starting point for finding out about cryptocurrencies. Go to Bitcoin.com and they'll help you out. As a matter of fact, they have made it now so that you can use local.bitcoin.com and you can buy, sell, trade Bitcoin Cash with dozens of payment options like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposits, remittances, or meeting in person, and with no ID requirements to sign up and to use the site, and all the communications are encrypted. It's awesome. Local.bitcoin.com, that's another option for getting cryptocurrencies.
Bitcoin.com's become a one-stop shop. It is just, I like it because it's one thing you can send people to really, I mean, it's on my business card. Because when I start talking about Bitcoin, I'll tell people as long as I got time to tell them. But I'm like, hey, go to bitcoin.com. It's on the back of my card. Check it out.
Yep, bitcoin.com. They make it easy.
And it works a lot. I've gotten a lot of people setting up those wallets.
Let's go to Jim calling in from Iowa. Jim, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I'd just like to. Can you hear me okay?
I got you, Jim. What's on your mind?
Okay, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Bible. I know you don't believe it. But here's a couple of things in the Old Testament, which was like 2,000 years ago when it was written.
Okay. Yeah, a little more than that, probably, if it's in the Old Testament.
Anyway, in the Old Testament, it talks about there's nothing in the north. It's empty in the north, and they know now there's nothing in the north. It talks about the stars singing.
Are we talking about like the North Pole?
No, the northern sky.
Okay.
It's empty. They know that now.
I don't know
and
what
they
that
also
means.
talk about the stars singing in the Bible.
Okay.
And they know now that the stars do make a musical note.
All right.
The Bible also says that God hangs the world on nothing. And that back then they thought it was held up by a man or something. Talks about the ark of the world. Prophecies all came true. That's
Well,
just a few things. There's a whole bunch more.
The
stuff
prophecies can be tough because it
The Bible
depends.
is-
Go ahead.
Don't go by. Just don't say the prophecy. Go by the other stuff I told you.
What
the
other
Bible
stuff?
says all Scripture is given by inspiration of God.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't understand the Bible,
Well, wait a second, Jim. Which scripture are we talking about? Hold on. Jim, I've read the Bible through 3 times. So when you talk about studying, that's I think I'm with. I've done whatever God could expect from me as far as reading the Bible. So when you talk about the scripture is inspired by God, which scripture? So the Bible wasn't a book until. Well, hold on.
Old and New Testament. Revelation says.
Well, why is it the Old and New Testaments? What about the apocryphal books from the Catholic Bible? What about the books?
They studied that, and they proved those things are false.
What do you mean false?
Mormon is made up.
Oh.
Just like the Book of Mormon, they proved it was made up. I can tell
What do you
about the
mean
Book of Mormon.
made up? I mean, are you telling me that, for instance, why did the Song of Solomon, Jim?
Chevy is better than Ford. Ask any Chevy guy.
Jim, why did the Song of Solomon make it into the Bible, but the St. George and the Dragon didn't?
Because it was God's will. The Bible says, "Study to show thyself approved."
Does that mean I know the Bible said study to show thyself approved? Does that mean?
Here for 2,000 years, it stood the test of time.
Well, so the Epic of Gilgamesh is older. Should I, based on the number of years, I should have believed the Epic of Gilgamesh is the truth, not the Bible, right?
That wasn't. I'm talking about the scriptures that God gave.
Well, you're just claiming that God gave them.
I just gave you a whole bunch of things right in the Bible that nobody could have known back then because they didn't have telescopes. They weren't scientists. They couldn't have known that stuff.
Well, the Greek scholars from before Jesus was born thought the world was round.
Didn't lizard people tell them, or aliens or something?
Well, you know what? You can make fun of the Bible.
I'm not making fun of the Bible. You called in on it. I'm asking you some questions.
I've heard you call the Bible a weird book and convoluted. That's God's word.
When was that?
Real answer to God. God is not mocked.
Oh, yeah. Hold on just a second here.
When you stand before God, you're going to find out the Bible is true and it is God's word after all.
I hope I do stand before God because I have some questions.
You're going to be so scared you're not going to say a word.
No. Well,
if you want to study the Bible, God sends His Holy Spirit to help you. Study to show thyself, approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word.
Why are you saying needeth? You're not from the 14th century. You don't need to say needeth. There's nothing holy about speaking in King James speak.
That's just when the Bible is translated, and that translation just happens to be closest to the Hebrew and the Greek.
Nah,
So
the Geneva Convention's better.
And
the Geneva version's better.
The translators.
That's your opinion. Other Bible scholars say the King James is the closest.
Yep, the ones that like the King James version.
And the original Greek and the original Hebrew, and it came out the same.
I don't trust King James. He was a king. That's why I don't trust him. I mean, these Bibles were translated by men who put their own spin on it. It's no different than reading the news today.
We've had the Bible for 2,000 years. God's not a deceiver. He's not going to let everyone in the world believe his.
Well, then why did he let the King James, the monks that translated the King James, add the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit when now the translators of the King James say that, yes, that it was absolutely just added in? I mean, there were hundreds of years of a mistranslation there that had to do with the Trinity.
If they find out it's in italics that was added.
Right.
You add something
Right, right. We know that now, but they didn't know that, when the people were going to Anglican church using the King James.
What do you mean? What verse are you talking about? Farther. Huh?
I'm sorry I can't hunt it down for you right now. I'm not the one to quote it, but
It was added.
it was added. That's why it was in italics, right?
I don't know. I'm just saying that sometimes that happens.
Sometimes that happens. Some of the verses are changed, and what we find out historically is that we've
the main
learned
part
new
of the
things.
Bible, to learn what to do to be saved and what God wants us to do.
Why do I have to be saved? Why did God put me in a condition that I have to be saved in?
So you can resurrect your own personal Jesus.
Our thoughts are not God's thoughts. Our ways are not God's
Right,
ways.
but I am created in His image, and presumably He's called fair and just. I understand what fairness and justice are, at least by my limited human understanding.
I was
Yeah,
created
it's my
in-
opinion. What?
That's
Look,
different. Maybe that's different from God.
maybe it is, in which case I don't want anything to do with Him. I hope that I am separated for all eternity from somebody that would torture their children.
Don't worry. You will be
Excellent.
separated from God from all eternity.
Well,
you don't have to
then,
worry about that.
that'll be
Keep
fine.
going on
You
like
seem
you are
very,
now.
very set in your ways, Jim, but hope all the best to you.
I'm not saying. The Bible says it. I believe it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, well, I don't. I don't believe something just because it's an ancient text.
Someday.
Thanks for the call. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Do you wish you could do whatever you wanted in your dating or relationship life instead of being locked into certain relationship or marriage models that don't make you happy? Do you wish you made more money on less hours? You can do both. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses, and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We're being attacked by news from all sides in tonight's News Blitz.
Now we're homing in on Houston, Texas, where NASA announced today that the crew of the International Space Station has successfully completed their 13-year mission studying man's ability to constantly repair a large object in space. NASA officials hailed the remarkable feat of maintenance at a press conference this afternoon.
And throughout human history, man has gazed at the stars and dreamed of fixing something up there. People once thought the ultimate feat in human repair was a really big boat. Today, we've accomplished so much more.
This comes in the wake of NASA's previous success, finding out how many times an astronaut could hold something in his hand, then let it go, watch it float in front of his face for a bit, then catch it again. All right, dust yourself off. You have survived the News Blitz.
Tune in tomorrow morning to Today Now. We'll look back at Jim's week as a polygamist.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
This is the Onion News Network.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever you want to talk about here on Free Talk Live. If the last gentleman who called in there's perfect example. I am not a big believer in the Bible. I think it's a fine ancient texts as ancient texts go.
I just don't good stuff in it.
Yeah, I just don't think that it is the unerring word of God. And I'm not at all a fan of the notion of hell. It's not that I'm some atheist or anything like that. It's just that these are my beliefs. But that guy disagreed. He stayed on the full segment and had every opportunity to say what he was going to say. And I asked him questions. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. Not only can you present the idea that you have, whatever it is, like for instance, the Bible is the unerring word of God, but I'm going to ask you questions about it. We're going to talk about it. And that's what we do here on Free Talk Live. We make it available. That's free speech. That's our goal, is that you can talk about what you want to talk about, and people are going to ask you questions.
And there's constantly a bias. I don't care if it's with politics, religion. If you're into horses, you got people that are going to love Arabian horses no matter what for everything. You got people that they're only going to drive a Toyota. They would only drive especially the Ford, Dodge, Chevy guys. I mean, you're all driving the same darn truck, and they just hate each other because the other guy's got a Chevy and I'm a Ford man, or blah, blah, blah. Or same thing with sports ball. There's always my thing that I'm into is the best. And I used to think at one time that certain parts of certain political ideologies were the best. Certain trucks were the best because of the brand name. This whole, it comes down to branding. I mean, the American flag is essentially a brand, just as Chevy trucks is a brand, just as Patriots football franchise is a brand. And people just, worship these brands. And even the whole idea of FSP, Free State Project brand is come on. If you're brand loyal, brands never stay on top of their game. If you look at history of just brands in general, they usually, they're great at for one time, and then what starts happening is because the brand is so awesome and anybody will just go along with the brand, they start, basically milking this brand for all it's worth, and they produce a crappy product or whatever. It just happens. It's just cycles. It happens.
Well, in the case the case of Christianity, for instance, this brand has really managed to hold on. Jesus is considered the man of the millennium, and I think he deserves the title of man of the millennium, the last millennium too, the second running man of the millennium. I think that Jesus is probably the most important figure in the last 2,000 years. But there have been a lot of people who've come in and ruined that brand for Christianity, and there'll probably be more.
And I personally think Jesus is a fiction, a literal fiction.
He could be.
I've studied this, and I believe that we all have our own personal Jesus here in the real world, and we animate this Jesus or give this Jesus life every time we ask the government for permission, sign these documents that have an X next to your name, the cross Jesus died on. Even the character that your birth certificate, not the certificate of live birth, all the biological identifiers on that birth certificate with the name in all capital letters, it literally comes from the placenta, the afterbirth, and that has mom's DNA, and that is defined as a child by United States Code, by the whole Maternity Act of 1927. Everything that comes out of the, basically out of the birth canal is a child, whether it's a baby.
We can read this in the Maternity Act of 19...
Well, so the Maternity Act of 1927 gets into this. United States Code gets into this. The Maternity Act of 1927 was repealed, basically as part of the New Deal, and then a lot of that Maternity Act stuff got rolled into the New Deal, and this is where the all the states started getting the same exact birth certificates, because they use the birth certificates to create this entity that everybody operates as. And this is, the entity that I am using this entity is essentially intellectual property of the state, or copyright that they enforce. And this is why when you go to court and you're operating as the name on a government document, that name and date of birth, you have no rights because you're exercising,
I want to get some calls here, Jay.
Excellent.
So we go to, first I want to tell people, please go to 123.freetalklive.com if you're a business owner. If you want to find out about this new advertising program that we're embarking on and get involved, I believe this to be an innovation in advertising. 123.freetalklive.com, and I think you're going to be very, very happy if you get involved there. Let's go to David calling in from Albuquerque. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why that's funny.
It's perfect,
though.
What's on your mind?
You brought up something. First, I just want to say, first of all, you can eliminate all those silly rules if you're willing to use your body. If you just stand up against it, you can make all the rules just how you want them to be and not play by their rules anymore.
Which rules?
It's just, which rule do you, any rule that you don't want. Remember, might makes right. So that's all I wanted to say was you can change all those rules. We're not bound. Let me. Jay brought up horses, so let me bring up my horse analogy again. I remember when I was a kid, I had and that brings that up too. I like about 1/8 Arabian in my quarter horse, and I had
I agree.
a 1/8 Arabian quarter horse mix, and I taught him. I could lead him around without any lead rope at all, nothing. And I did it by, first of all, just using a lighter and lighter rope. And I got to the point where I could literally pluck a hair out of his tail and wrap that around his neck, and he would follow me. And then I got so that I could use an imaginary rope and just pretend like I'm putting that around his neck. And then he would follow me. And then you can look on YouTube, you can see horses that are tied up to plastic chairs and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
And they just, yeah. Anyway, and so the same thing goes for us, and we are just bound to all of the silly rules that are in the court system.
Yeah, this is kind of like the boiling frog analogy, right? That things get changed over time, slowly and gradually, and you'll put up with anything until you're dead, which is basically what happens there, and that's kind of how it goes. What you're saying here with the horses.
Yeah, and remember that's just an analogy for humans because we're the exact same. And what I'm saying is that today, the people, the average person, is the same as that horse that's being led around with an invisible rope. If they only knew that they could turn and walk a different direction at any time that they wanted, and that nobody could stop them. They could do that, but they don't believe that they can. They believe that they're actually bound by that heavy lead rope that they think is there.
But
conditioning and socialization are powerful.
But there are some horses that are very smart, and their spirit is very, very hard to break. And like Arabians, for example, are probably one of the oldest breeds of horses, and like purebred Arabians are very smart, and they're hard to train at first. You got to break their spirit and or win their loyalty. And that's kind of something you had probably done with that horse of yours. And the fact that it was 1/8 Arabian actually helps because it's smart enough to understand you and to be trained, but it's not quite smart enough to, fight back. And quarter horses are kind of docile.
Gives more compliance.
Yeah, well, we actually had a fun game. It's like we had a big, 100-acre pasture, and so if I wanted to ride the horse, I had to catch him, and you couldn't catch him because he would avoid you. He didn't want to, or acted like he didn't want to be bridled and ridden.
I know this game very well.
Yeah. So the trick to get him was, and most other horses, was to put some oats in the bottom of 5-gallon pail and bring it out to him, and he would see the pail come up to it. When he puts his head down in the pail, then that's where you put the rope around his neck. And then once you got the rope around his neck, then he says, "Okay, you got me." But the thing is the horse knew the whole game before he ever walked up to the bucket. He knew that he was pretending to avoid it, and then he was acting like he was avoiding it, and he'd come up and put his head in the bucket, and then he would act like he was surprised that he got caught when the whole time he knew he was going to get caught. It was just a game.
Right. If this can't happen over and over again, he doesn't figure it out. But we all trade certain things for some of our liberty, and that's probably what he was doing, was trading a little bit of oats for his liberty for at least a period of time, and riding wasn't so bad.
And just like the horse, humans get small rewards for their compliance.
Thanks for the call, David. Appreciate it.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. Exclusions apply.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. Just text DO11 to 350350. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK. For a free consultation plus an extra 20% discount, text DO11 to 350350. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's DO11 to 350350.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's the final segment of Free Talk Live, and I suppose it's possible we would get you on. The number's 855-450-3733. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
Talking about vaporizers here, these e-cigarettes, and how towns, cities, states, they're criminalizing these things or regulating them and taxing them and doing all this kind of stuff.
They're super popular, and they're taking a huge market share from legacy tobacco.
Well, that much is true, and it seems to bothers somebody, I can tell you that much.
Just follow the money.
Well, that's good advice, generally. Going on with this article, one such new example is the trend towards criminalizing the ownership and use of e-cigarettes and other vaping products. With an uptick in teen vaping, lawmakers across the country have been proposing everything from excise taxes to flavor bans as a mean of curbing teen access. Some municipalities are taking even more drastic steps. Both large cities like San Francisco as well as smaller townships like Morristown, New Jersey have introduced legislation to ban the sale or even the possession of e-cigarettes. And it just goes on and on. Certainly the problem of teen vaping is something to take seriously, but vaping is intended to be a safer alternative for adult smokers. By making it harder to access a product like e-cigarettes, the government doesn't eliminate the need for vaping. It simply forces customers to turn either to an easier product to purchase, ironically, cigarettes, or forces them into a black market, which is what's happening in Australia.
I imagine that a 16-year-old or a 14-year-old or even a 12-year-old could walk into a vape store and buy some of these products, because a lot of them, like, there's a lot of vape juices you can buy that don't have any, essentially vegetable glycerin and vanilla flavor.
But they're regulating those too. That's the thing.
There's nothing regulatable. I mean, it's becoming like the microbrew, like beer. Like, you got all these microbrews everywhere. Where now, like, you can buy these kits and literally make up your own vape juice. You can just make it yourself.
That's true. You can do that. So anyway, going on here, it says, applying Green's theory, bans on e-cigarettes and vaping products will especially affect the poor, contributing to a snowballing strain on those who can afford it the least. In addition to penalties some might face, vaping bans will have detrimental effects on public health, especially among these poorer communities. And this is absolutely true. If you're looking at somebody going out and buying a $50 vape setup versus a $6 pack of generic cigarettes, what are they going to do?
Right.
They're going to go buy the $6 generic cigarettes they can walk to the store. Rather, a lot of times it's just harder. The harder you make it to get vapes, the fewer people who are going to quit smoking. And vaporizing has been successful in helping people to quit smoking. Is it disturbing to me that young people would choose to vaporize, like these Juuls and stuff like that, before they even smoke? Well, yeah, I'm disturbed by that. I don't like that notion very much.
Would you rather?
But they probably, in the absence of Juuls, would have started smoking.
That's right. Yeah, 25 years ago, they would have started smoking. I mean, a bunch of my buddies smoked when I was, a teenager. And a lot of them don't smoke now that did smoke when I was a teenager.
Well, yeah, people give it up. I think it's to some extent a rite of passage. I smoked from the time I was probably about 17 years old to probably, I guess, my mid-30s, thereabouts, maybe 40.
Most of my friends that smoked, the reason I remember my buddies always wanted me to smoke, and I didn't want to smoke because my dad I was going to get a beating, and he was a smoker. But they did it because it was the most rebellious thing they could do.
Right. Let's go to Mike calling in from Washington. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind? Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I actually got through. I can't believe it. Well, one thing about the religion I wanted to bring up. Now, I've not spent any time in church myself, but my mother was in a convent from the time she was 15 till she was 30. And then when she turned 35, she had me. Interestingly enough, though, I have a sister that's 6 years old, and so she must have been a miracle child because, my mother was in that Catholic prison in Hoboken. And to the feller that was in the movie Seabiscuit feeding the horse oats, if you actually just ignore the old nag, she'll come right to you, and you don't have to waste a pound of oats or take a chance on getting her head stuck in a bucket. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
And he is not wrong when he says that, because there's a lot of times that we would just, you do this game where you go chase the horse around and you ignore him, and the horse is breathing right down your back. And as soon as you turn around, he'll run the other way. But if you could just stop and let him walk past you a little bit and then put your hand on him, a lot of times he'll submit to you. I've played that game a lot with horses, and they're all a little different.
You deliver hay, and you spend a lot of time with horses.
Yeah, I grew up in the horse business. I was literally buying and selling horses, actively up until about 4 years ago. And, yeah, I did a lot in the horse business.
Let's talk to Philip calling in from Missouri. Philip, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hi. Again, my name is Philip. You guys were talking about birth certificates earlier today. And
Well, I was.
I have a really... Right. And I had a really interesting story that I had to tell.
Okay.
And that is that I was born in 1980 in Roswell, New Mexico.
All right.
And my mother never knew, well, of course she knew, but she never said who my father was.
Okay.
So being in Roswell, they just wrote my father down as E.T.
Are you serious?
What did that stand for, though?
Absolutely serious.
Extraterrestrial.
Well, yes, that's what it stands for in the movie. Okay. All right. So
maybe Edward Townsend.
Okay, so it could have been short for a name. All right.
Edward Townsend.
What's that about Edward Townsend?
I mean, can we all just do a group search of Edward Townsend and Roswell and see if something comes up, please?
Why would that? Why would
do
a whole
the
bunch of
search
people
yet?
doing it?
Because I can't have my father being E.T. I mean, that
I
guy's
see.
an actor,
Well, there you go. I mean, it's an odd story. I think it's funny that in Roswell they would do that.
Didn't the E.T. movie come out 4 or 5 years after you were born?
Yeah, a few years after.
Well, I mean, it's been happening for I don't know how many years, man.
And E.T. kind of had parlance because people knew the term extraterrestrial.
Yep.
I don't know if they used the initials E.T. before that. I don't know. Phil, it's a great story.
Like the CIA did.
Well, I don't know what they had to do with it. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 855-450-3733. Following up on this story as far as vaporizers go here, I think that it is pretty obvious that the do-gooders out there that want to stop vaporizing are harming people more than they're helping. I think that they dislike vaporizing just because there's this plume of vapor. All the complaints that one has about smoking, basically the vast majority of them disappear with vapor. There's almost no secondhand smoke situation when you're dealing with it. You might get a little bit of nicotine or something that you inhale, but very, very little.
You walk through
and
the
that's
cloud.
not what's most carcinogenic about cigarette smoke.
Oh, right. And if you walk through the cloud, you might smell a little vanilla. And also with the cigarette smoke, I mean, these guys are purposely the cool cigarettes, for example, they had this really small particulate fiberglass. And what it would do is it would actually get into your lungs, and so you could absorb more nicotine, or somehow it would it would mess with you. And this was a big thing that the makers of Cools got sued over years ago. I don't even know if you can buy Cools anymore.
You You could a few years ago. I've heard this story. I don't know what the truth of the story is. I just don't know the veracity of it. I've heard it, and then I've heard people rebut it, and I don't even know. I wouldn't know, but I can tell you there's lots of things in cigarettes that are bad for you.
Well, and they're made purposely addictive, and these chemicals they put in.
Even more so. Like they amp it up. They found what's addictive, and they turned it up to 11.
Yeah, and now Facebook is, everybody's looking for the next dopamine hit on social media. So, I mean, I think we need to be worried about more about these, digital addictions maybe than vapes. And the city of San Francisco has got much bigger problems than vapes. I mean, they just regulate everything until the place is literally a cesspool.
My favorite part about cesspool. Yeah, right. When you say a cesspool, what you mean is that they have apps now to track the poop on the sidewalk in San Francisco.
Well, this is what regulation will get you.
It's almost unpredictable to me. I'm very surprised to find this, but sure enough, it's there's just humans pooping on sidewalks in San Francisco, and somehow or another we're worried about vapes. It's amazing what you can get that city council to chit-chat about.
Oh, absolutely.
When they can't solve their own
real
civilization problems. It's been Mark with you.
And Jay.
You can check us out at freetalklive.com. Over there, you can sign up for our newsletter. We'd love to have you get our newsletter. Basically, once a month, you find out all the fun stuff that's happening with Free Talk Live and ways you can be further involved. It's just freetalklive.com, and the newsletter sign up is right there.
Taxation is theft.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,418. Silver at $16.